Good people, good people, good people. Welcome back to the Gumptown Podcast, episode 183. I'm Doug B. If you tuned in to this podcast, thank you for your time and your attention. I really appreciate you giving it a shot. Today's guest is the founder and owner of InTown Movers. I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I'm sure we'll all be inspired by his story. Let's chop it up with Rashaad Haigler. Rashaad, how's it going, man?
What's going on, brother? I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Glad to hear that, and all is well on my end, too. First things first, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to chop it up with me. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me on your podcast, man. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Of course, here to talk about all the great things you got going on with In-Town Movers. But before we talk business, let's get to know the man behind the brand. Born and raised in Montgomery, what was your upbringing like in the Gump?
Man, born and raised in Montgomery, my upbringing, I would say it was pretty good. It was a fast-paced life. Um, I was a little bit in and out of trouble, air base, doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing. But as far as like my lifestyle, living with my parents and my upbringing, I wouldn't change it for nothing in the world. I was a pretty spoiled kid growing up.
Okay, sounds good, man. So spoiled kid, man. So that tells me right away you had a great village growing up.
Yeah, I had a great village, man. I was supported by my mom and also my grandparents. So I had a little bit of country life going to my grandparents' home down in Hopewell, Alabama, and then also having my mom's side being in the city. So I got the mixture of both city life and country life. And then we all had four grandmothers, so I had a lot of help, a lot of food to eat.
Yes, sir. That's what it's about, man. That village ain't nothing like that village, man. They gonna love on you and praise you when you're doing right, but when you're getting wrong, you're gonna get disciplined. I'm pretty sure you had that same experience.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You better know what to say.
No doubt, absolutely, man. So that's great. So once you come up in Montgomery, finish up grade school and all that good stuff, finish up high school, did you go to college, military, or did you go right to work?
So when I graduated high school, I actually did attend college for maybe about 6 months. I went to Trenton Tech College here in Montgomery, Alabama, and I actually went there for about 6 months before I dropped out.
Okay, sounds good. I mean, it is what it is, man. Everybody's journey is different. I mean, it sounds like you got in there those 6 months and realized it probably wasn't for you, so you had to make a pivot.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I ended up having a kid early, and I also found my passion, which was moving, and they both kind of took a toll on my daily life experiences. So I had to make a decision that was best for the family at the time.
Yes, sir. I completely understand that, man. Becoming a dad and having that new responsibility, having that mouth to feed, you had to make some adjustments, do what you had to do, and no, that's good stuff, man. So let's talk about that passion of moving and what you got going on present day. So let's start from the beginning. When did you discover you had this passion for moving?
So right around that time when I was in college, when I first graduated high school, well, not right after, but a little, maybe a year or two after I graduated. After I started, was in college, I picked up this moving job on Indeed.com. Just a desperate young dad at the time with two kids and bills on my back. So I'm on Indeed looking for anybody that's hiring. So at the time, I ended up putting a resume in for a moving job. They was looking for a supervisor, $15 an hour. I knew I wasn't a supervisor at the time, but I applied anyway. Next thing happened, maybe a week or two went by. I had a missed voicemail from the guy let me know that he didn't have any more supervisor positions available, but he did have helping positions at $10 an hour. So I ended up working there for a year, maybe a year and 1 month. The job came to an end because me and the boss ended up having some differences at the job. I ended up stopped working there, but that long story short, that year that I worked for that moving company, that's what ignited that fire for moving, and I just fell in love with it from that day forward.
Okay, sounds good, man. This is a dope story, man. Just being in that, working that 9 to 5, working for that moving company. That's where you first got that itch, first got that desire to first fell in love with just the concept of moving and like, no, that's amazing, man. I mean, it's definitely a well needed service. So you got into an industry that you're gonna always have plenty of business and plenty of work to do because people are always moving and yeah, people always need to hire you.
Yes, sir.
No
Moving is
doubt.
at an all-time high, 7 days a week. It's all depending on how you market yourself to get those customers.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So let's talk about your company, InTown Movers. So I'm big on brand names, Rashaad, man. I'm always into the origin and finding out a brand name, like where it came from, the birth of it. So what inspired you to name your company InTown Movers?
That's actually a great question that I don't get a lot. What inspired me to come up with the name InTown Movers? I was sitting and thinking of 100 different names, and I said I wanted my company to be known like always available. So we're always in town. So I thought of if I named it InTown Movers, our motto could be we're always in town, no matter where you at. So at that moment, I said I was just going to decide to name it InTown Movers.
Okay, sounds good, man. Very organic way how you came up with the name. And yeah, man, like I said, I'm just big on brand names and where they came from. And your brand name is definitely catchy and it makes sense how you came up with it, man. That's dope.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So I was looking at your Facebook page earlier and just doing some due diligence, and I see where you do local and long distance moves. So what's the longest distance move you've made?
So the longest move that the company has made so far, I would say to Lubbock, Texas. We went to Lubbock, Texas. That's about 17-hour drive there and back. And we also been to Miami, Florida, pretty much a lot of places. No, I take it back. Our last trip I just booked, the guys went to Arizona. That was a 26-hour drive. I flew them from Montgomery, Alabama. They took a plane ride from Montgomery, Alabama, and we rented two box trucks down in Arizona, and we drove two box trucks back from Arizona all the way back to Montgomery, Alabama.
Man, that's what I'm talking about right there. Took it all the way out to the West Coast,
Yes,
Arizona.
sir.
Yes, sir. Made it happen. No, that's
Big
amazing, man.
money, big money. The guys had a good celebration. Everybody was smiling. It was a good payday for the whole team.
Oh, I believe it. I already know what time it is, man. I mean, trust me. When I've hired a moving company before, man. Just going from Montgomery to Prattville and back. So, and I know what I paid for that. So I already know y'all weren't complaining about that payday. Everybody was happy, like you said. Y'all celebrated. Yes, sir.
Everybody on board, wide awake.
No doubt. Absolutely. I definitely understand that. And I know previously when you had mentioned Lubbock, Texas, I went out there one time for work a few years back. Man, that's really the sticks, man. Like Lubbock, Texas, ain't nothing out there, man.
Man, I
Man.
didn't know they was telling me that Lubbock was going to be the flattest place I ever visited. I didn't really understand what they was telling me. They was like, just imagine a flat surface.
Mhm.
So I took that in consideration, and as I'm on that drive out there in the middle of nowhere, you can literally see the same exact car or pole 30 minutes down your drive. It's like literally still there because the land doesn't have any hills or humps. So when they say it's flat down there, they really mean it's flat. And they like to tell a joke to give you an example. And they say, if you let your dog run out the front door and you let him run for 24 hours, you open your front door, you'll still be able to see him running.
Yes, sir. Yeah, hey, that's Lubbock right there. Hey, flat man, I'm telling you, and it's the sticks, man. Yeah, so that's amazing, man. You got a chance to go out west and make that move from Arizona back to Montgomery for that client, man. That's dope. And also, just in terms of, so have you had a scenario where you was hired to move somebody, and when you got to the house or the apartment or the condo, or whatever the place of residence was, when you got there, was it more than you had bargained for? Like, take us through a scenario where you got somewhere and it was a little chaotic, and how did you overcome?
Okay, I got a perfect scenario for you. So sometimes, one of my first jobs I took on, um, I I I misjudged the job, like you said, and it's funny, it got me tickled when I first started. So we booked the load. The old lady called, said she doesn't have that much. She just going from one floor to the next. She promised it won't take that long. So I took that in consideration, and you never really always believe the customer. You always want to do your own research because some people are not experienced, they may not know what they have. So we go out there with no dollies, no truck. We just like it's just a quick job. We're gonna move this stuff from one room to another. Man, we go inside and the lady has about 50 boxes, sofa, bed, dresser. She has a pretty much a full one bedroom move. So we was able to overcome the move by basically having to pick those boxes up. I had to chunk it up under the chin, and I had my brand on the line, so I had to step up and just manhandle those boxes from one room to another. But it taught me that day that it takes money to make money because soon as I got paid from that job, I took that money from that load and I went and invested in some furniture dollars.
Mm. Now that's a dope story, Rashad, man. I mean, much respect to the old lady, man. But she played y'all, man, talking about she ain't had that much stuff, and then y'all got there, and and you had 50 boxes. But that's great, man, that you were able to you didn't fold, like you said, you manned up, you manhandled those boxes. But right after that, you said, "Hey, I'll never get caught slipping again." You went and invested in the equipment. That's what it's about, man. Appreciate you for sharing that.
Man, no problem at all.
Yes, sir. So whenever I have entrepreneurs on the platform, I like to talk about three things: the aha moment, action, and audacity. Take us back to your aha moment when you first had the idea to take your love for moving and turn it into this business.
So when I first had the aha moment is when I figured out that people are willing to pay for something that they really, really need. So when I figured out that I was really good at what I was doing, I decided to say, hey, if I'm working a job and they're paying me about an hour, but if I go move these people furniture and I get paid double the price, maybe I should just move people furniture and quit the job. So that was a aha moment for me. Like, hey, the light bulb went on.
Hmm. And that's a great aha moment, man. Just realizing that you, like you said, like it's a need, it's a service people willing to pay for, and you were willing to leave the 9 to 5 to step out there on your own. So when you got ready to, and I know you said like you and your supervisor kind of at odds and stuff like that. So when you got ready to make that shift from the 9 to 5 to becoming an entrepreneur, did you put in your 2 weeks notice, or did you kind of just leave once y'all got into it? Like, how did that
Man,
go?
that's a great question. I did not put my 2 weeks notice in. I had the worst boss. She was on my neck, talking to
Right.
me crazy. I don't need y'all. I call the temp service and have all y'all replaced.
Wow.
Then I was making $7.25. And I was a janitor, 21 years old, a
Mm.
janitor, two kids, man. I said, life gotta be better than this, man. It gotta be better than this.
Hey, you know what? I ain't mad at you, Rashad. I mean, hey, the 2 weeks notice is typical of the standard, but when you got a boss that's a jerk and like you said, you got kids to feed, $7 an hour, 21 years old. I mean, hey, I was 21 before too, man. I already know just that ego, like, you know what, you ain't gonna talk to me like that. I'm out of here. So I get
Hey, one thing I
it.
can say, it was a super nervous moment. My stomach was hurting the night that so the way I did it, I made a deal with myself. I said I was finally getting customers in the daytime and I was working a night shift job, being a janitor at night. So as I was doing my own service in the daytime, I started to become tired at nighttime from working and making my own money. And to the point my body started telling me like, hey Rashad, you're not gonna be able to move furniture all day and stay up all night. So I said, if I get three more customers and I have a consistent week again, I ain't going to work tonight. I ain't going to work tonight. I ain't calling in. It's over with. They can even keep the check. That's how dedicated I was. I ain't even wanna. It felt like I didn't want to show my face because I let somebody down, but at the same time, I had to put myself first. So the night I was supposed to go to the job at 10 p.m., man, it turned 10:05. I'm like, I'm not at work, man. I know they looking for me, going crazy. Then it turned 10:30, 11 o'clock. I said, yeah, man, I'm unemployed at this moment. I'm officially an entrepreneur. I don't have a job no more. And when the temp server called me, I just pressed the decline button and I said, Rashaad, who? Man, I'm Mr. In Town now, man. I got my own service. I don't punch the clock no more. And
Mm.
it's been 9 years ago, and the sky been the limit ever since, man.
Man, that's so amazing, man. Hear you just tell that story and just that breakdown, and that's what it's about, man. Like you said, you made a deal with yourself, and then the very thing, then you got those three customers, and I mean, hey, man, I just love to hear those type of stories, man. And like you said, you were nervous, and trust me, like leaving that 9 to 5 umbrella, that steady paycheck, regardless of having a jerk boss, like the first and the 15th for every other week, that check coming, so. No doubt. So you realize, hey man, I need to put me first, which you did. You jumped out there, man. So 9 years in business, full-time entrepreneur, man. Salute to you, man. That's dope.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So upon having the aha moment, let's talk about action. How long did it take you to come up with a name and get the LLC and all the business stuff situated once you had your aha moment?
Okay, so the first year or maybe 6 months, I just kind of did it under the table, just kind of fill it out, just moving people cash. I ended up making a Square account, just kind of mobile payments, doing it under the table. And then I told myself, if I really want to make this into a business, I may want to make everything official because maybe if I make everything official, I feel like I'm officially an entrepreneur, I'm a boss because on some days just waking up, I just felt like still a little boy running a business, making money, or a young man that's just still trying to find his way. So just watching videos and other entrepreneurs online, just telling about the LLC and things of that nature, it made me just want to look into it and have myself branded the same way. It's like if they can have a LLC, why can't I have an LLC? So at that moment, I wanted to take my brand serious and also make it longevity. So at that moment, decided to tell myself to get online, use the internet the same way we use it as entertainment, and actually use it to teach myself something and get myself to the next level. So on February the 27th of the same year, after the same year that I opened the business, on February the 27th, that's when I went downtown and got my official business license, actually put the in-town movers on paper, and then maybe a year after that, because I didn't do everything right off bat, it was like one step at a time. So as I got the business license, I kind of just moved around for another year or two with just the business license. And then when I got more advanced into the business, getting the aspect of it more, filing taxes, watching more videos and want to get loans and things of that nature, working on business credit, that's when I decided to get the LLC. And I also heard about, getting sued, getting my money taken away from me because I'm a sole proprietor. So things like that just kind of scared me into wanting to just make my business officially just credible and everything done right because I didn't want my business to just blow back up in my face after all the hard work and punching the clock for $7.25 over my head. I was scared to go back.
Yeah, man. I mean, hey, you had a clear vision of what you did not want to go back to, so that spurred you into action. Like you said, you did it one step at a time, which is ain't nothing wrong with that, Rashad. Sometimes that's what it takes. You educated yourself, like you said, you watched videos, you made sure you learn what you need to learn, you legitimize your business through and through. So you good to go now, man. That's what it's all about.
Yes, sir.
So for that last portion, audacity is one thing to have an idea, it's another thing to put action behind the idea. But to put it out to the world to be praised or criticized, that's where the audacity comes in my opinion. And just hearing you talk with as much passion as you've been talking with Rashad, sounds like you gave yourself that courage, that audacity to put in-town movers out to the world.
Yes, sir, man. I'm
Yeah.
smiling now just thinking about it, talking, just knowing that 9 years of my work and putting stuff out to the world, that people like yourself reach out to me and want me to speak on their platform. So that gives me another confirmation that I'm walking in the right direction, surrounding myself around good people, and I'm standing for something. I stand for in-town movers, something that I created from scratch. I always want to be a part of a team. Sometimes you get cut. Sometimes you just don't meet the requirements for everybody team. Sometimes you're not comfortable. So I was able to create my own team, my own platform, my everything my way, and also still have a good behavior behind it to where other people want to be a part of it and also even want to hear my story. So it just remind me to just be proud of myself, and like my boy said in the NBA, man, he said sometimes you have to just take in the moment. And that's what I'm doing right now in this podcast. I'm taking in the moment.
Yes, sir, as you should, man. I mean, you earned it, man. Like everything you've been through, everything you worked for, you earned it. I mean, just hearing your story and you talk about where you come from and the jobs you had. I mean, ain't nobody give you nothing. You got in there and you figured it out. You got it out the mud. I mean, built it brick by brick, and that's definitely something to be proud of, for real.
And on top of that, man, both having, being a parent at a young age at 17 to 18, having two kids and starting a business, and being a young man myself. I'm still 21 years of age. I'm a kid raising kids, so I don't even know who I was as a male. And any other guys that's listening or have kids, sometimes you may not have a direction of where you're going, because I never dreamed to own a company. I never thought I was smart enough to own a business. I never been a suit and tie type of guy. I thought I was just going. My dream was to have a Honda Sonata car, my dream car, and I dreamed to be the guy, the mechanic at Hyundai that works on the robots. And my dream salary was 20 to $23 an hour, and I could possibly get to 26 an hour if I stayed 3 to 4 years. So that was the cap of like my whole life, the rim as far as I can go. I didn't go to the NBA. I didn't make it to NFL. So in my mind, I was just an average guy that didn't make it. I should have listened in school. I should have listened to my parents. And I just felt like crap, to be honest. And then once I had that aha moment, and all the way up until this day, it's still not realistic, because my roof and limit was 30 an hour in a Honda Sonata. And now I pay people 30 an hour, and I don't even dream of a Honda Sonata no more. So it's just a blessing within itself, and just a message to the guys out there, man. Well, you may not know what you're gonna be doing. Nothing may not add up, but you gotta get up every day, go in the world, just get a job. You may not like the job. The job may not make sense to you, but you need to learn these tools as far as getting up, going to work every day, taking directions from somebody above you, learning to do something that you couldn't do well the first day. Now you can do it better on the 30th day. Just those basic tools, it'll prepare you for life and being a man within itself. So the first initiative is just getting off your butt, getting on your feet, and just going out into the world. Like even in the Bible, when Jesus, when he got his message out and he did his thing around the world, he didn't just stay in one city. He went city to city, state to state. So just him getting up, moving around, the message that he wanted to put out, it was able to reach people all around the world, because he just got up and moved. Don't stay in one spot. Get up and move, whether it makes sense or not. And once I started moving and it didn't make sense, God just started to send you answers and tools that make sense.
Mm.
So trust the process, take it day by day, and I promise you, everything going to eventually add up.
Yes, sir. You just dropped a whole bunch of gems, man, and I appreciate you for just dropping those gems. And you said something at the very end. You said the most important piece of all the great stuff you said. You were in motion, you were moving. Like that's the most important thing. And that's the only way you gonna figure it out. That's the only way you gonna get your miracle, man. Like just getting in motion and moving. Because think about it, Rashad. Had you not made that deal with yourself, you probably would still have that limited dream, that limited thinking that you had. But man, you jumped out there and you realized that, man, the possibilities are endless. And that's what it's all about, man. Just being willing to just jump out there and just challenge your own beliefs. Do it scared, do it nervous, do it no matter what. And like you said, you had kids, two kids at a young age. And in spite of all of that, man, you could have easily made an excuse and you could have easily gave up on yourself, but you didn't, man. And that's something to be proud of. Salute.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So you've done great things with the business. I know great things are coming down the pipeline, which leads to my next portion, vision. What are some of your short-term and long-term goals for the business you feel comfortable sharing?
Okay, absolutely. I'm more than welcome and comfortable sharing it. So some of my long term goals is eventually to get 3 to 4 more trucks, make my business double in profit, hire more people, and to just learn more about my business, learn more about the business I'm in, get it in a chokehold, get everything from A to Z, not just learn a small amount of it. Actually learn the entire craft and maximize as many jewels and dollars and whatever I can get out of this one brand and business. My long term goal is to milk it dry. And even if it don't milk itself dry, just keep the milk steady flowing non-stop. And some of my short term goals is to um one of my short-term goals is to help others that are willing to help me. And when I say help others that are willing to help me, if it's people that I have, like I hire different guys and employees, and then and learn the craft the way it needs to be learned from A to Z, and also be able to respect the craft, the job. I would take the time to pour into these guys to get them to the next level as far as they want to move up in the business, showing them things that men never taught me, as a young man or as an adult. So the job doesn't just turn to just a job, it's also a mentorship at the same time. And I actually saw this on a movie and took hold to it. So it has people not just working for me just for money, but working for me for a purpose. They know why we're working, why we're moving this furniture, and why he's telling me to do things this way. And on the back end, these are the things that I can gain from doing these things right. Not just making Mr. In Town and In Town Movers grow. What can I learn from this situation? What can I learn from this business? Because if I want to go start my own business or walk away from this company, I'm able to walk away with good jewels, good things to take up under my belt to lead me into the next part of my life. Because I know some of my guys may not be with me forever, they might not live furniture forever, but while they're with me, they feel love, they feel a part of a family, and they understand the business and how everything works. So everything runs smoothly, everybody's paid, and the business continues to grow as everybody's a part of it.
Yes, sir. Those are great short-term and long-term goals, and I have no doubt you make them all come to fruition.
Absolutely. Hands down, it's a must.
Yes, sir. So as we wrap up the podcast, Rashad, I want to ask the million-dollar question. I started this podcast because I wanted to highlight the greatness connected to the city of Montgomery. Whether you were born here or lived here for a significant period of your life, be it college, military, or work, you being a hometown hero, I got to ask you, what do you appreciate the most about the city of Montgomery?
What do I appreciate the most about the city of Montgomery? One thing I appreciate the most about the city of Montgomery is that if you have something good going for yourself and you don't try to, if you have something good going for yourself, the people really will support you. But the day that you show them otherwise, they will throw you in the trash. And that's something I like about my city. So if you're an imposter, they gonna call you out and find you. And if you're a genuine guy and a genuine woman or girl or boy, whatever you are, they will truly support you from A to Z. And that's something that I love about my city. If you're genuine, they'll be genuine to you. But you still have to take the regular protocol, safety, going into different places. So don't just come around here thinking just because you're a good person, you can just do anything. But if you're a positive guy, like me and that seem the same way you are, the city will support you hands down.
Yes, sir. No doubt. Absolutely. So, Rashad, how can people connect with you? What are your social media handles and website?
So on Facebook, you guys can follow me at Rashaad Haigler. That's Rashaad. My last name is Haigler, Haigler. And if you can't find me at Rashaad Haigler, just type in Town Movers, In Town Movers, In Town Movers, In Town Movers on Facebook, and also In Town Movers on YouTube. And on our YouTube, our page is 100% give back page. So if you're looking for a page to watch, to give back to the community, feel free to go over to the page, check out some of the videos. And if you like what you see and you want to support me and the In Town Movement family, hit the subscribe button. And last but not least, if you're in Montgomery, Alabama, surrounding areas, Prattville, Wetumpka, if you need your furniture, your home move, whether it's home, apartment, storages, houses, you name it, or you just moving stuff inside your home, call us here at In Town Movers. Our number is 334-221-6684. And you can call or text that number. And we're open 7 days a week from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And reverse that, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And thank you again for your time. My name is Rashaad, and I'm here on the behalf of In Town Movers.
Yes, sir. And of course, I'll put all of that information in the descriptions of the episode. Hey, Rashad, thanks again for the conversation, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me, and I wish you the best. And I know your podcast is gonna be in the top 100, top 10 in no time. Just keep doing what you're doing. We really appreciate you here in Montgomery.
Sir, appreciate it. Good people
All
that
right, you have
conclude.
a good one.
Yes, sir. You too. Good people that concludes another dope episode of the Gumptown Podcast. In the meantime, in between time, y'all know what to do. Be blessed, be safe, but most importantly, have the audacity to be you.